Still rocking like an OBS.
Hey guys, what's going on? Paul here. Welcome back to another Cardano live stream, and sitting down today with Peyton, BigPey. A lot of people here, or I'm sure most people here, are going to be very familiar with him. We're going to go through kind of what's going on in the overall markets within Cardano, different projects maybe. We'll see where the conversation goes. The idea is like any of the live streams I do here, open format, any questions. The main priority on these is any questions you guys have, throw them in, and that can kick off our discussion and hopefully help you guys out, as well as looking at our own thoughts on where Cardano is. So, BigPey, thanks very much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me on, Paul. It's really exciting times right now, seeing where Bitcoin's at. I mean, we almost touched the all-time high yesterday for the big drop, and people are waking up again. You know, there's a lot of people coming in and checking out crypto because they see their bags have gone up, and you know, it was a pretty slow couple years. So everyone's starting to check in again now. So it's going to be a good stream today.
Yeah, definitely. And actually, people coming in the comments, let us know if you can hear us clearly okay. If the audio is okay from both of us. I think it is on my side, but just to be sure, sometimes going live is a bit different. But yeah, it's crazy. I'm starting to see names coming back that I haven't seen in a while. And it's good to see people coming back as well. And even getting the odd question from non-crypto people to tell me about this Bitcoin thing or this Cardano thing, or so people are getting interested. I don't think retail isn't really back yet. If you look at Google Trends and searches, we're still not there. But things like yesterday with Bitcoin hitting all-time highs, that's going to pique people's interest and they're going to start coming back to see what's going on. But yesterday was probably one of the craziest days I've seen in crypto. Bitcoin hit the all-time high of just over 39, and within 4 hours it was down to 59,000, 59 something. So it dropped 10k in the few hours is just insane. Like, you see where we are back today, it bounced back nearly straight away, but it's kind of crazy. We're in a bull market now. I presume it's not many people can deny that.
I mean, what I've always used to kind of signify the bull market is when it passes through the all-time high. But it's kind of weird because we've gone up 300% almost in, 4 months, 5 months. So it seems very bullish, but, it seems like it's happening a little early this time around. So, when people ask me about crypto, if you would ask me 6 months ago, is right now a good time to buy? I would have said, yeah. Usually end of 2024, 2025 is, when we have our 4-year cycle, and we're having it a bit early, it seems like.
Yeah. See, Peter there said he had 12 people in the last 2 months, and I think them numbers are only going to go up. And it's like most of us who've been here a long time now, we're the crypto person in most of our groups outside of crypto. I know for when I'd be in different groups, I'd be the crypto person. If it comes up, I'm generally the one who people go to for asking questions. I generally don't bring it up myself. I let people ask whenever they want. Let me see what's good. Any questions that you guys have, let us know down below and we'll try and pull them in. And I have a few quick topics to go through, and then we'll pull them in the second half. Also, BigPey's channel is in the description, just in case you're not subscribed. I'm going to presume most people are. Give this one a like as well and share it out. The more people we get in here, the better it is, the better conversation that we can have. Cheers, Thomas. Thanks for joining us. How do we get natives on centralized exchanges? We might come to that one as well. That's a big topic at the minute about centralized exchanges, and can we get native assets onto tier 1 centralized exchanges? Because there is a big difference in some of the ones that we see assets on already and the volume that the bigger ones can bring. But I suppose part of that is, what's your thoughts on Cardano right now, where we are, even outside of price action? Is Cardano ready for, I would say we weren't ready for a bull market the last time, so it doesn't always correlate with the price, whether you're ready or not. But what's your thoughts on Cardano as it is?
I would say my only worry is the block size. When we saw Sunday Swap launch in the last bull, there was a huge amount of excitement. I think they had like the largest amount of followers of anyone for Cardano on Twitter other than Charles. It was on the hundreds of thousands. And I think they had around 60,000 users at the same time come in, try Sunday Swap, and we reached the block full size, so I don't suspect that not to happen this run. And I think Cardano's in a really good place. But before, crypto is really driven by narratives. And, what is the narrative right now? Before it was smart contracts, before that it was Shelley and, Voltaire. And in this industry, people don't seem very excited about governance. So that's the next big narrative. After that's going to be midnight. But the other thing, the other narrative that needs to arise for us to do really well, in terms of users, in terms of adoption, is projects, interesting projects that bring in users themselves, whether that be at events, locally, online. This is the time for large projects to be the new narrative of Cardano. Because when you think of Ethereum, you think of, Uniswap or SushiSwap or all of the products or layer 2s that they have on Ethereum. But when you think of Cardano, or the average person thinks of Cardano, what is that product right now? I don't think there is one. And maybe one of the products that does exist now will become that, but it hasn't happened yet. And for that to happen, these projects need to bring in users from other ecosystems. And, that's kind of what we're doing with Atrium. I think Axo has the ability to be one of these projects as well, but that is where we're at right now. I think we're in a really good spot. I think the utility is there, the users are there, the developers are there. My only worry is about projects, not creating that next narrative, or us not addressing, the block is full issues because we still have V1 contracts going and too much data being used per block.
Yeah, I think that's probably right, is that when people look at other chains, then you can say, you think of what they're associated with. I know Solana, obviously people don't have different opinions on it. It's not decentralized, but it's extremely fast. So when you look at Solana, you say it's very fast, or Ethereum originally in smart contracts has a massive ecosystem. Cardano right now probably doesn't have that. What is Cardano? What is the differentiator? Governance definitely is going to be one of them. And like you say, it's probably not something that people look at too much right now. And even this cycle, I don't know if people are going to care as much as they maybe should care about governance in this cycle. It might even be the next cycle before we get that. But that's something that we all know is going to be coming for Cardano very soon. Actually, I'm having a live stream with Rick McCracken on Friday to catch up on it, because I'm not fully up to date on everything that's going on with SanchoNet, but other narratives as well. I would like to see projects. You mentioned Axo, definitely bringing something different there. That it's going to be interesting to see what projects come. I think we will see. We need a Cardano phone, Michael says. Would that be a good enough narrative to make us different? Did they actually stop making the phone, Solana phone?
No, they're actually making a second one. So I pre-ordered it. I did. They had like the early bird $400. I was like, this is going to be worth at least a couple jokes on Twitter, me having this phone.
I look forward to them videos.
Yeah. So yeah, I bought it and posted it on Twitter, like the receipt or whatever. And everyone's like, BigPey's leaving Cardano. Like, it was pretty funny.
Nice. Actually, Linux, sorry, I forgot to turn off the intro music. It should be off now. Let me know if it's not. AGIX, people asking, are you the guy to tell us what AGIX is? I know obviously Singularity Net Ecosystem, and they're doing a lot in AI, but if someone asks you what Singularity Net is, what do you tell them outside of that it's an AI project?
It's actually a really interesting idea. In Vashon Island, it's off the coast of Seattle, and it was really cool. I flew there. I had to take a boat to this island to speak with an AI scientist and ask him about AGIX. And what he believes is that we're in the generation of having, an intelligence that's smarter than us. And he believes that, centralized companies have a chance at getting there first. If you look at Google or Microsoft, and that's bad for the world. If this one centralized company has this utmost power in this AI that they can only license or sell to other people, we're going to be beholden to that centralized company or corporation forever. So what the goal of AGIX is to build AI, but decentralized. So instead of having, if you look at Cardano, it's these various nodes that are all processing transactions. What AGIX is trying to do is build various nodes in a network that process different utility for consumers. So this could be, creating videos for people like the new Sora that ChatGPT just came out with. Or it could be, a language model like ChatGPT on another node. And what he wants to do is essentially have all of these various nodes of AI utility connected together in a network to build, one intelligent AGI that's decentralized, that's owned by the people that have the token, so that a centralized company doesn't control, humanity's, biggest power or also its biggest weapon. That's the goal of AGIX. And if you look at all of these other tokens in the ecosystem, when he started AGIX, he realized that this decentralized network of AI utilities isn't enough. You need to have finance in it with Singularity DAO. You need to have NewNet to, power the decentralized servers that these AI live on. So that really is what the Singularity Net ecosystem is. What it encompasses is these various products that all work together to hopefully bring us AGI one day.
Okay, yeah. People ask me about Singularity Net. I know it's AI, and it's one I've never went fully down the rabbit hole. NewNet, one I've looked a bit more into, and decentralized compute, and then you have Hyperledger for that will be decentralized blockchain, as far as I know. When you look at AI, it's crazy. Or Hypercycle, yes. That, yeah. Did I say Hyperledger? Maybe.
Well, it's because they have a ledgerless blockchain. That's what makes it Hypercycle interesting.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of AI. If you look at the last 12 months have just been crazy. If you look at what AI was able to generate 12 months ago versus now, and that's what we see as the public. When you look at like Sora, when it came out there, it was insane to see the videos that were created by that, just by a few prompts and what you can create. Like we had images before that, and the quality of the images now is crazy. But when you can actually start getting video, it's going to be insane where things go. And when we were talking about what Cardano has, so Igon, yep, great project as well. World Mobile, another one I'm really a big fan of, the two of them. And this touches on narrative, I think, will be big in this cycle, will be Deepin. So both of these projects were essentially Deepin before Deepin was the big hype term this cycle. And I think it's only going to get bigger because Deepin is something that people outside of crypto can understand. So it's not like when they're coming into crypto and you're trying to explain to them how some new DeFi protocol works and all the little bells and whistles and everything it can do. Deepin is a simple thing to understand. You provide something outside of crypto, physical infrastructure, and you get rewarded for that with crypto. So I think it's something that will get bigger and bigger. But any other narratives that you see, not just with Cardano, but as the overall crypto space, any other ones you see coming in this cycle?
Just to touch on World Mobile for a second, I think the Earth nodes should launch this year. So that's going to be kind of a huge narrative storm around it. There's been talks of a test net. There's a few people already running it on testnet right now. So as far as narratives go for Cardano, I think World Mobile is going to be a huge one this year. I think as Axo, starts to gather more users, I think Atrium is going to be a big one as well. We're hosting 3 events throughout the year that are going to be targeting new users and existing users and users from other chains. But honestly, I think the big one is going to be Midnight.
As in the narrative of privacy and how important privacy could be?
I really just think it's simpler than that. A lot of these new users that are coming into crypto are going to be very like new and degen brain, and they're just going to want the airdrop. They're not even going to know how it works, what utility it offers. They're just going to hear airdrop for holding ADA, and then that's going to excite them enough to start looking into it. and then start championing it because they know they're going to get the token from it because they have ADA already. So then they're all going to become like Midnight and ADA holders. But there are going to be different, types of people. There's going to be people that sell the dust for ADA, or maybe some people that buy dust right away. But it's really going to be an interesting dynamic. And I suspect that Midnight will probably not be the only airdrop that we see to ADA. Like in the same way that we saw, Bitcoin Cash, arise, or these like, forks of the chains. I think that we may see that this cycle of there being a few different, forks that are essentially just, copying the chain, changing a few things, and then airdropping everybody. And it's going to be interesting to see kind of how that dynamic plays out.
Yeah, well, as an ADA holder, that's hopefully good for us in terms of the market and where it could go. And I think you're probably right on that. It's one of the strongest parts of Cardano down through the years. Obviously, research and everything that's behind it has been the community and how big and solid the community is. So people are going to be looking to get that community to try and get involved in their different projects or different things. And airdrops is definitely a way to do that, because once you have something of a project, if you're able to get part of their token, you're going to look at the project. You have lots of people just get it and sell it straight away, but you do pique the interest of lots of different people too. So I'm just trying to catch up on comments before we go on to anything else. So projects, if you could pick a project for the bull run, which would it be? I suppose we've talked World Mobile, both of us fans of that. I think for me, deep in projects are ones that I think are going to be very solid. And I presume you mean token here, but I find myself looking at, there's a lot of projects I really like, but I wouldn't hold their token because I hold the token for the investment purpose and where I think the token can potentially go. And a lot of times people don't separate that. You can have a really good project, but the token could be not much good. So it's, for me, I look at it in both ways. There's projects I really like, and then people say, oh, why do you talk about a certain project when the token is gone so bad or something like that? And there is a difference in it. But I think the likes of World Mobile, one thing I really like about them is the buybacks that they do. It's bringing funds from outside of crypto and putting it back into the network. So they're actually earning based on their real world infrastructure. And then that funds is being put back into crypto. So it's unlike what a lot of times is, it's the same funds get cycled around. So I'd love to see more projects doing that type of thing, especially in that, I suppose, the deep in narrative. But any other projects before I continue on that you'd add?
Indigo. People talk about IUSD and some of the, uncorrelated issues they have, but no one's really taken a moment to look behind the hood and seeing how far Indigo is along compared to other projects. They have a DAO that is a smart contract that you can come in, create a proposal, and then the proposal creates a token in the smart contract, and then it handles voting with their on-chain token. And that's how the treasury funds are distributed to fund new integrations. They have the ability to actually upgrade these smart contracts through a vote. So as they're moving to V3 or V4, whatever it may be, they can have an on-chain vote that the users essentially have both of the contract addresses and the vote, and they vote yes or no. Like, yes, we'd like to upgrade. No, we wouldn't. And then it automatically happens without any user input. What a lot of people don't realize is, to build truly non-custodial or decentralized smart contracts, it's really hard currently. There's usually some type of centralized input, whether that be, just signing a transaction for something. And, Indigo is really far ahead, and they're continuing to develop. And I think, given that they fix some of these depeg issues, it's going to be really interesting. But we just saw Butane launch, and they raised a huge amount of ADA, trying to do synthetics as well. Liquid has been around for a while as well for lending. So it's going to be interesting to see the kind of dynamics between these new projects that are launching and the old projects that are further ahead. They have more momentum. They have more technical experience. And we're going to see a lot of these new projects launch, like butane. We're going to see, something that's really exciting, really hype, launch, raise more money than any of us ever did. And some of them may never ship, and some of them may ship something that's really cool. So, one piece of advice that I'd give to anyone is, be careful with all of these new and exciting and pretty projects launching that you've never heard of, unless they've already been building for a year or two. I started building the Atrium, a year and a half ago, and we just launched our alpha last week. Make sure you check out the podcast that Paul graciously did with me on it. But it's hard. It's not easy. So if you see a guy with good branding and a good idea that hasn't even started developing it yet, it's going to be a year, minimum for them to actually ship that project. And these markets don't last much longer than a year or a year and a half. So,
yeah, few very good projects there. I'm looking forward to Indigo V2 coming out and fixing the DPEG issues that have been there. I think that opens up so many different possibilities of DeFi strategies, and even with butane coming out too, to me, for us, the end users who want to actually use the protocols, then it's only good because it gives us options there. They push each other for something better, and potentially there'll even be strategies where you can incorporate the two and use the leverage of one against the other for yourself. Hey Max, how are you getting on? This I think because community had competition for projects to receive aid from the Treasury. It's part of marketing fund. I think it's part, like as said here, isn't that Catalyst? Catalyst is an avenue for that. Sometimes we get different Catalyst funding proposals to onboard certain parts of the world or to put out different marketing strategies. So it's possible with Catalyst. Maybe there'll be other opportunities when we have governance to do different routes, but it is possible through Catalyst at the minute. So marketing will be nice. Rogan Charles interview. Yeah, what happened to Rogan after Gogan, was it? Or nothing ever materialized on that?
Not Charles, but Joe is probably scared of bringing on these random crypto projects because he's, doing ice baths and saunas, and he's good at comedy. He doesn't have the time to understand crypto, if it's even valuable or if it's just a big scam, like the FTX guy in his head or the other scams he's heard about. So he's just, going to slowly.
Yeah, and you can't blame anyone for being, I suppose, careful about crypto projects. We've all seen the amount of scams, rug pulls, failures thrown in there too that have come over the last few years. So it is hard to pick the winners. Thoughts on USDM? So as far as I know, it is still set to come out 10 days from now. It should have its initial launch. I think USDM will be great for Cardano. The one thing I'm kind of worried on is how much liquidity will be there in the beginning, and also what incentives will be there. The Mehin can't provide the incentives themselves. They need the likes of lending protocols or DEXs to provide the incentives for people to be able to use the USDM. So I'm very interested to see how much is minted, and the incentives will definitely be a part of that, because if the incentives are there, then it means, I should bring any stables I have into Cardano, into USDM, and be able to utilize them to earn interest on them. But what's your thoughts on it, USDM?
So I think it's a good project. I'm happy that they're launching it. It's really nice to see kind of grassroots projects launch something that's really needed. Cardano obviously needs stable coins at this point. I did a live stream a few weeks ago, and around 30 minutes into it, I interviewed him for around 25 minutes. And it was really awesome. They're essentially legal, or going to be legal on launch in around 19 states in the US, which is huge because that means they're tackling it from, a regulation standpoint in each jurisdiction, which is hard work. The only thing that worries me about it is that there is still trust there. You do have to trust the creator of USDM. You do. These dollars, how does USDM make their money? I asked them this question. They make it from the dollars that you transfer over to get the token, and they're going to be farming these dollars through traditional safe investments. But there's risk there. Whereas if you look at, Circle, Circle has so much to lose that they're not going to be doing, maybe riskier investments. Like the whole crypto industry is kind of relying on them now. And, the odds of USDC, not being trustworthy versus a grassroots movement, I would personally choose currently USDC, but that's no shade at USDM. I like what they're doing. I think grassroots projects are important, and I hope that they grow, to be multi-chain and bring in more liquidity from elsewhere and become a very valuable stable coin. But the industry knows and trusts USDC. A big part of the industry knows and trusts USDT. And I think there's around 20 or 30 billion dollars in USDC right now. I think USDT is at 80 to 100 billion. So, if we want liquidity, we need USDT and USDC. USDM, you have to trust them, and it's not going to be enough. I know it seems harsh, but we actually have been working on creating a stablecoin working group to bring USDC and USDT to Cardano. And obviously, we can't determine this. It's going to be eventually held up to a community vote. And what we're doing right now is submitting a proposal to Intersect. We have a group of us together. It's, Dwayne from Liquid. We've got MinSwap in there. We've got Fluid tokens in there. And we also have somebody who's actually negotiated and brought both of these tokens onto other chains before as our product manager to handle the negotiations with Circle and to handle the negotiations with, USDT to bring them both over. So what we're going to need to make this happen is support from protocol builders, because if you think about USDC, what they want is, as you mentioned with USDM, it's going to be on these protocols to incentivize usage of these tokens. So for USDC to come to Cardano, what we need is usage. We need incentives. We need sign off from a lot of the large protocols on Cardano to accept USDC or USDT. And then it'll happen. If the community wants it and votes for it, it'll come. So that's kind of a little update around there, and also my thoughts on USDM.
Okay, nice. Yeah, look, I'd love to see USDC, USDT, all types of stables on Cardano to give people options. I think it's something that is missing from Cardano's trading. When you look at trading on other chains versus Cardano, on other chains against stable coins is always the highest volume, because look, you want to trade against a stable asset. You don't want to be trading two volatile assets all the time. We do have options. When Indigo V2 comes out, then that will help with the stability of IUSD. As we're in a bull run, then ZED is more reliable now. I think the last time I checked, it was getting close to the 800% over collateralization. So it's great in a bull market, but when things turn around, then you can still cash in for your ZED for ADA, but there's pressure put on Shen holders. So I think they will struggle in a bear market. So it is good to have options. Just with USDM, one part I really like that I would love to see other protocols taking is the integration with Charlie 3 for oracles, that no USDM can be minted if the assets don't actually exist in the bank. And it all happens through smart contracts and linked into the bank API. So it does bring some nice transparency there. Max 20 past. Yeah, it is just 3:30 for me in Ireland right now. We have some Atrium fans in the stream too.
Love to see it. Thank you. Can I pick one of the comments?
Yeah, go for it.
Pick the one that says Pey scammed his community. I want to comment on that.
Okay, I'm going to comment on this because I brought it up or I'll forget. What does WMT do that Starlink does? So the two of them can actually work together. So Starlink could be the backhaul, which is the one that provides the connection, and then World Mobile is the one who broadcasts it out to the locality World Mobile also have the aerostats, which is a different idea. But even with the aerostat, there has to be a backhaul connected to that. So Starlink could be the backhaul there. I've seen links before of, is there going to be different partnerships or whatever there? But I don't actually know. Let me see. Where can I find that? You can start commenting on that. So how did you scam your community?
So Matt, yeah, we found it. BigPey scammed his own community with his NFT project. So I see this sometimes, a comment here and there. So a couple of years ago, I launched an NFT project called Mycelial Gallery. And this was when NFTs were very new to Cardano. Space Buds had launched, I think, 2 months prior. Clay's launched 2 weeks after us for their first mint. And then a couple weeks before that, Unsig actually launched. So me and my buddy got together. He's actually the co-founder of Atrium now, Ben, and around February. And it was right when they added the utility of NFTs to Cardano. And it was called the Cardano Native Asset Standard at the time. And he was an artist and he was really good. I loved his work. And I said, hey, man, do you want to do something, fun on the side? We can make just a couple images and sell them, see what people think. And he's like, yeah, that would be really fun. So then we see SpaceBuds launch. And because we hadn't looked at projects on Ethereum or any other projects, that was our first time seeing like gamification of blockchain assets. And it made us really excited. So we decided to change it all and add in a burning utility, and you get new NFTs for that burning utility. So about 3 months after SpaceBuds, I make a video and we launch it on the same day. And in that video, I said, these NFTs are digital collectibles. They are not investments, and they will never be worth anything. What they are is purely a gaming utility that you can use to get other NFTs by burning. And on that Twitter account and on my Twitter account, the history's still there. I never once said, hey, invest in these NFTs. And I also didn't do the usual, oh my God, one of these sold for 10,000 ADA. Because we had some of these pioneers going for $30,000. And what NFT projects normally do is they take that image of that sale, they post it on their Twitter to say, hey, look, someone spent all their money. You come spend all your money. We never made one tweet like that. And I did that on purpose because these weren't investments. They're art with a digital utility that you can collect and make your wallet look cool. And we were very clear from that in the beginning. And what we promised was one burn. In reality, we did 3 separate burns and actually doubled the amount of the NFTs in the collection by doing double the artwork than was initially planned. So it does bother me a little bit when people say that was a scam, but I don't think they have the whole history. They may have came in and bought one in the store and assumed that we were like every other NFT project where our sole goal was trying to pump people's bags. And the reason that we didn't want to do that is because there's always a loser. And that wasn't our goal. So there's kind of the full story behind that. Sorry for taking so much time.
No, always good to address things like that and hit them head on. We also have Kaizan. What's up, Kaizan? Good to see you in the chat. Another Cardano content creator. Make sure and check him out if you haven't already. Everton says, likes the fact that Cardano is focusing on decentralized AI. Other tokens like Flare are also working on it, and the more legitimate products work on this issue, the better for humanity. Flare isn't one I'm familiar with. Have you seen it?
I haven't. Never heard of it.
Was that wasn't the XRP? No, was that Flare as well? I'll look it up afterwards.
AI tokens have done really well, even throughout the bear. Before Bitcoin was popping off, like the day that ChatGPT released, like AGIX was like, and like every single project connected to them, like even Sora came out, the new video AI, and I look at AGIX. Yeah. So it's correlated, I guess, to OpenAI.
Yeah, it's crazy. Any AI tokens, and people had no idea what they were buying, but if they seen AI in the name, it was like, buy that token, because things like ChatGPT or even Bard or any of the other alternatives that are coming out now, we're just pumping it because there was always something bigger and better coming out in AI. And then people look at crypto, and it's like, oh, if there's crypto and AI, it's bound to have a pump. What else do I miss? I'm trying to catch up on comments. If I had to pick the best lending protocol on Cardano, what would it be and why? For me, it depends what I'm trying to do. I think they're all slightly different. I'm going to cover this fairly soon. I will have a DeFi series coming out, probably going to be another week before it comes out, but it'll be introduction to all the different ways to use DeFi and then diving into some of the different protocols. And then the next phase of it will be getting into strategies. But Liquid Finance, I really like what they've developed. I know V2 is on the way. I haven't looked into everything the V2 is coming, but I think they offer different opportunities. Levy, in its own right, I know people, there's been lots of controversy about it lately, but depending on the strategy you want to play, something like Levy with actual timeframes, I know some people look at it as maybe something similar to options with what Levy has, with LendFi as well. I think there's good options out there for everyone. With LendFi now, if you only want to have one asset against yours and you want to essentially help that community, then getting involved in picking the pair. So ADA against, let's say, the LendFi token, and that's the only ones you want to interact with, you can get in there. If you don't care what you interact with and you just want to put your ADA in and let it be used in anything else, then Liquid is a good option for that because you don't have to pick. That is one thing I like about Liquid, is that you don't have to pick which pair you're going against. So you just put in your asset and then it can be used for anything in the protocol. But if you like to have a bit more control, then LendFi is a really good option. I know Fluid there, I haven't seen much on the native asset lending and borrowing, but I know they're working on a lot of different things. They also have the boosted stake, which is another really good option to have. Do you use lending and borrowing much, BigPey, or am I forgetting any of the protocols? I probably am.
I mean, it's not really considered lending and borrowing, but I do use Indigo to mint synthetic assets, and it kind of reminds me of lending because you're, depositing collateral and getting more tokens out of it that have value, and then you can farm them. But that's really one of the few DeFi products on Cardano I've used over the past couple of years is Indigo.
Yeah, there's opportunities. I know some people will use the two of them. So you'll go over, you'll mint your synthetic asset on Indigo, get whatever you have, sell it off then in the market, maybe to get more ADA or get another asset, and then put that into one of the lending and borrowing protocols. And it all depends on the interest rates, if what it costs you for the lending and borrowing, if the interest rates are okay, if they're worthwhile, because when you do the synthetics, you're not actually paying interest on it as long as your collateral is good. So there's lots of opportunities there. Let me try and catch up on comments. And again, if anything jumps out at you, let me know. Any questions? I know there's comments about stuff we talked about already, so I'm kind of skipping over them just to get to actual questions. Thanks for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Top 3 picks on Cardano. Kind of comes back to what we said earlier. Sometimes my top picks for protocols mightn't be the top picks for tokens. But for me, I suppose the 3 biggest holes for native assets that I have right now are World Mobile, Igon, and Copy. So they are bigger projects. They have, if people are looking to get in at earlier stage projects, there's probably going to be other ones that you can get in that have more of a risk reward ratio. And there's other projects that I have there that I think potentially could be bigger. And a lot of this comes down to timing as well, because I think I talked about in the last video I done the flows and how markets work. And it always works like Bitcoin is going to get the first run and Ethereum gets kind of the first runoff of that. And with ETF talk for Ethereum, it sometimes gets some of the first money too. So you will see that funds go in there first, then it flows to other layer ones and to other bigger cap, then it flows into the different ecosystems. So you always have to be aware of that when you're getting into a project. And if you look at native assets against ADA for the last week or the last month, a lot of them have suffered against ADA because of how the ADA price has been moving. So for me, when I think that ADA starts to stabilize a bit, that's when I look to start picking up projects. And a lot of them could be shorter term holds. The 3 that I mentioned there are more longer term holds for me. I know there's going to be ups and downs throughout the cycle, but There's other ones then I'll try and pick up, but they're more time sensitive. So I don't like to say to people, oh, these are ones that I'm picking up, because I could end up selling it before you get to say it or anything. So generally, I don't talk about what I'm buying and selling, because I don't want to be accused of trying to pump things or anything like that. But for yourself, Peyton, top three or Atrium?
I would say my top three. Number one is ADA, for sure. My top three Cardano picks. Number two is IAG. Number three, World Mobile. And then number four, Indy. Yeah,
Nice.
It just hit like a all-time low. I think last week, pretty close to it. I think I picked up a bunch of them for like 3.5 or 3.4, and it's nice because you can earn ADA from staking it.
Yeah, and when I'm looking at projects as well, that's something you need to look at, is that what is the reason other people would buy and hold the token and not just buy it to pump the price of it? If there's reasons for people to hold the token, then you look at the likes of MinSwap as well, have their fee switch. That's probably an example of a really good protocol, but the token hasn't done much. But they are trying to work on that and build in reasons for people to hold it. So they pay part of the protocol fees out to min holders. And I think Dex Hunter are looking to do something with a fee switch too. So protocols and Indigo do it. So protocols that give something back or reasons to hold the token outside of governance. Governance is great, but as a reason for people to hold the token, then it generally isn't enough if we're talking price action here, which I presume that comment was around. Then Orcfax, they seem to be next-gen Oracle solving important issues. To be honest, I'm not sure of the full differences between Charlie 3 and Orcfax. Have you looked at it?
I've known the guy behind Charlie 3 for a while, but I haven't heard of Orcfax enough to really go into the nuances between both of them.
Yeah, I've had both Damon Charlie 3 and Peter from Orcfax on the channel before. Probably do a catch up on both of them at this point. Charlie 3 are going to open up their nodes fairly soon. Still waiting on dates for that, because I might be running one myself. With Orcfax, they had their sale recently for the nodes. So probably would be a good video for me to do some research on, to look at the actual differences between the protocols. Like I said earlier, with Indigo and Butane, to me, having competition it's better for us as Cardano users. We're the ones that can benefit from that. Controversial topic in the community lately, Levy Finance, just in case anyone didn't see it, the sale was cancelled yesterday. So we touched on earlier that, I think you mentioned it, about Butane and how much they got. They got 50 million put into their sale, 50 million ADA, where they were looking for 9 point something as a raise. It was pro rata. Everybody got back, I think, over 80% of the ADA they put in, and then whatever it worked out at 18, 19% of the tokens and the Butane token. But with Levy, they only got 1.6 million ADA out of a target of 9 point something, was the last I seen before it was closed off. So they've decided to cancel the sale now because they haven't hit the targets they were looking for, and they're going back to using the society token. It is a pity how it was all handled. I think I can see the use case for having a separate token for Levy. I can see the reasons for wanting to do it, but the whole campaign around it was handled really, really bad. It was, I know they said before, SOC was the token for the Ape Society ecosystem. The tokenomics probably didn't match some of the ideas they wanted to do with Levy, but there would have been, in my mind anyway, there would have been ways you could have done it. What needed to happen was looking after the society holders first, making sure that they were kept whole. With the likes of a Levy sale, you could have put it out early that in Q3 or Q4 this year, there will be a Levy token, and putting it out that there'll be big airdrops for people who use the protocol and also for society holders. So there could have been ways to do it and still have the two tokens, but it was announced on a Twitter space that there was going to be a token for Levy and the society token wouldn't be used going forward. They were going to get a bit of an airdrop, but I think even the airdrop that was given people were disappointed with. So I don't know what's going to happen with the project going forward. I think they have been solid up to this point with what they've built within the Cardano ecosystem. I hope that they do stay on, do keep building. I know I seen the tweets with Charles yesterday asking, are they moving? I think they come out and said, no, they are staying on Cardano. They are going to build. So look, it's a pity. There's holders that got burned, which is the thing I always look at and don't want to see. But hopefully the project can go ahead. Levy, what they have built, Avatar Nick, I think, was a big part behind that on the coding side, has built a really good product. So I would like to see it expanded and built on top of. But any thoughts?
I wasn't invested in SOC. However, I kind of felt negative, that they did that, because there was a long time ago, crypto.com used to have this token called MCO. And if you purchase like $5,000 of it, you got 5% back, free VIP lounges at airports, free Spotify, a bunch of benefits. So I spent $5,000 on it. This was like 2018, 2019. And then 3 months into it, they launch a new token, and it's the new crypto.com coin they have now. I think it's called Crow or something. And they forced me to convert all of my good tokenomics to bad tokenomics. And that has never sat well with me now. So if any company comes in and launches a second token that doesn't have kind of a fundamental utility in the platform, I just, I don't like it. It's distasteful. I think usually it's covering up your tracks. You didn't give tokenomics enough thought or time the first time, so you're just making a second one for another shot at it.
Yeah, I think I was a part of that too. I did hold, I can't remember how many MCO, but I remember that conversion. And like you, I had the same reason. I wanted the crypto debit card. I still have it today, but I haven't used it in a long time now. Now with the bull market, I might need to dig it out and see, does it still work, to be able to make sure that I take some crypto profits. That's always a good thing. Never get too greedy. Do take some profits, DCA in and out of the market.
So do you think now's time to take some profits?
Depends. I haven't taken, look, I run a business, so I have to take some every month to pay bills and stuff like that. You're the same. You're probably very deep down the crypto rabbit hole. So I take some every month just to pay the bills, but actual proper profits, I'm not there just yet. But when I do get there, it'll be like taking a couple of % of whatever holding it is and selling at different prices. And then every time it goes up X %, I'll take another small %. And then look, markets never go up all the time. You look at yesterday, Bitcoin dropped 10K within, 4 or 5 hours, something like that. So now that was an extreme case, but the markets can turn very quickly. Do you think it's time for profits yet?
I think it depends on your timeline. I also think it depends on what you're investing in. If you're in Bitcoin and it's like your crypto 401k, don't take profits. If you bought, some ADA at 25 cents and you're trying to make short-term profits, maybe now is not a bad time. As I mentioned in the beginning of this, I didn't think Bitcoin would go as high as it is now. Normally what we see is it starts going up around or before the halving, and then it trades sideways for a while, 6-8 months, and then we start to see the big run up. And then when it passes the previous all-time high, we're off to the races. However, we could have passed the all-time high yesterday. It didn't happen, but I have a feeling that the run isn't now. It just doesn't make sense. The only thing that would lead me to believe that the run is now is that everyone in crypto already knows about the halvening. They already know about the cycle. And we have these large institutions in here now with a lot of money. So for them to make the most, it would make sense to make all of retail bleed by having the cycle much earlier than before. However, I just don't think it's going to happen like that. I think at most, we'll probably hit 80K, Bitcoin at the highest, 81K. And then we'll, dip, trade sideways for a while, and then into this year or next year is the run. That's kind of what I'm thinking. But no financial advice. I don't read charts. I don't draw lines. It's as close as me licking my finger and putting it in the air. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it's the cycle is definitely blowing out at this stage. Like we never hit an all-time high in previous cycles. We never hit an all-time high before the halving. We did briefly go above it yesterday. I think 69.4 we hit before a big drop. Must have been a lot of people taking profits or people shorting when we got there because they knew they would have been able to liquidate a lot of people going long at that stage. And yeah, the big institutes are in control. If you are looking to get into the market short term, then just be extremely careful. Anybody who asks me, should they buy crypto, and they're thinking it's only going to go up and they want to sell in a month, I'm like, no, I just don't. Don't give financial advice to people, but I say, look, if you're not looking longer term or willing to hold longer term in case it dips now, then it's definitely not the place for you. So let's see what else we have. We've got about 5-10 minutes. I'm not sure what your time is, but roughly 5-10 minutes, and we'll try and wrap it up.
Somebody asked, show your space buds. So I actually have two one-of-one space buds. One of them is the Bloom one they sent to me. And then the other one that I have is the Charles Hoskinson space bud. I swooped that up during the bear market.
Nice. Unfortunately, I don't, but looking at the way the market has gone, if it keeps going the way it is, I'll probably definitely pick one up just for that, to have one as the part of history. I don't know if space buds are ever going to do anything else, but it is a part of Cardano history. And Dunning, thanks very much for the super chat. I really appreciate it.
Can I do a little update on the testnet?
On Atrium, yeah. And anyone in that hasn't hit like yet, please do so. I do appreciate it. Subscribe, and BigPey's channel is in the description too. So how has the Atrium testnet been?
Yeah, make sure you guys slap that like button. Sometimes words just don't work. So on last Friday, we launched the Atrium incentivized testnet. And what we're testing right now is staking baskets. Staking baskets allow you to delegate to up to 110 stake pools at the same time and reward you with ADA plus Atrium DAO tokens for using it. This is on Cardano's preview network right now. So you use, test ADA, and what you'll actually get on mainnet is an airdrop and the ability to claim tokens from our site, for the next 8 months if you participate in the incentivized testnet. We're also going to be launching another incentivized testnet after this one, so make sure you guys stay tuned. It's discord.gg/Atrium Lab to join in. And since Friday, we've had about 4,000 to 5,000 people come in and test staking baskets in the Atrium dashboard. And we've already shipped 3 updates since Friday, so it's a lot smoother now. And we had a lot of people beating the hell out of it. So thank you guys if you've already tried it. And if you have any questions for me around Atrium, just join that little Discord and I'll answer them for you.
Nice. Yeah, it's great to see the interest that's there. I think lots of people are excited to get in, try it out. And look, airdrops, you mentioned narratives earlier on. I think airdrops this cycle, we haven't seen them on Cardano yet, but hopefully we start to see more. And Atrium is definitely a good one for people to check. I will leave a link to it after this is finished. I'll get the links and I'll put them in the description for anyone that hasn't seen it. And I'll also link our podcast. Was it last week, the week before? Losing track. But we sat down, talked all about Atrium, what it is, and done a quick demo of it too. So I'm just flying through the comments here to see what I've missed. What have I missed? Are you guys hiding or holding? I read that as hiding. BTC in ADA like IBTC and GBTC. Personally, I do hold Bitcoin, but I hold it on a hardware wallet that is locked away rather than IBTC would be a synthetic rather than actual Bitcoin. So it's not bridged in. I just have, for stuff that's a longer term hold, I have a bit of a fear with bridges and just a safety thing. If I'm not actively going to use it, then for me personally, it sits on a hardware wallet. GBTC, I'm not sure if that's which one is GBTC? That's not the Anita BTC, is it? That's the bridged one, or is GBTC something else?
I do have some IBTC, but I don't know what it is. Let me see if I can find it on a quick Google.
Yeah, IBTC would be the Indigo one. And I think I have a small bit of that, but I kind of don't consider that holding. Bitcoin V2 will help that when the peg is more stabilized. But right now, it's more down to supply and demand on Cardano rather than the actual Bitcoin price. We also
All I'm
have,
seeing is Grayscale's BTC, but there might be another GBTC.
yeah, maybe it is Grayscale one. I know people, they were looking to convert that at one point to an ETF. What else we got?
I did buy $1,000 of the Bitcoin ETF the day it launched, just as to show my support. You know,
Yeah, volumes have been very good. The last
Mhm.
week, volumes were going crazy on the ETFs. Faith and Book and Neum. Again, I like trying to do something that is different to what crypto has done before. Book, so getting digital books, but giving you full ownership of them. Neum, looking to do something different in the music industry. So again, any project that's doing something different, I think is definitely a good project to look at. Let me see, where else am I in the comments? And for the last few minutes, if there's anyone with any other questions, let me know. I know there's different comments here. I think they're referring to others that we talked about earlier. Why do major exchanges not list Cardano native tokens? I think part of it is there is a fee. So when you're listing on major exchanges, you do have to pay a fee, or generally you have to pay a fee. I think there's the very odd case where they don't. But then you would also need to put up, I would guess, a decent bit of liquidity. So they would be two things that stand in the way of projects being able to put the funds up, because look, projects on Cardano are not as well funded as projects on other chains at times. You look at Butane, the liquidity is there if projects are good enough that they can raise the funds. But when you look at some of the money that's raised by other projects, and then the exchange listings are just no problem. It's just like throw money at it to get listed. Right now, it's going to take the first few pioneers of Cardano projects as well, because the first ones need to get the infrastructure done to actually be listed. Now, from what I've heard, it's not that difficult. Once an exchange already lists ADA, then it's not that hard to actually list the native assets. But it's about the first few opening the doors. I will be doing a stream with Navjeet from Iagon next week and AMA, and that'll be one I'll put to him. It's just about the tier one exchanges and their experience. I know that there has been some comments about that they might have a listing soon, so probably a good guy to put it to. But yourself, Peyton, have you any interaction with the exchanges or opinions on why they're not listed?
You covered it very well. It really is just a fee, and unless you have a large amount of users and a large amount of demand, you know, that could make an exchange want to list you because they're going to make a bunch of money off of you. But they already have so many tokens on there with demand that the exchanges are not kind to new tokens that are launching. You know, they want a percentage of your token supply. They want you to pay a USD cash fee. And often, as soon as you give them that percentage of your token supply, some of it's for them for listing it, and the other bit is for liquidity. And usually they take that full amount and then dump it. So that's why we've seen a lot of major exchanges when there is a Cardano listing, the token just dumps immediately after, because all of that existing demand is already on the blockchain, you know, through MinSwap or Sunday Swap. So when it gets listed on a new exchange, there's not a lot of demand there for Cardano native assets, because most of us just buy them on chain. That when it's listed, the exchange takes their tokens and dumps it. And then because of that arbitrage, it usually ends up dumping on Cardano too. So it's, you know, when it comes to listing a token, it's kind of scary if you're a project founder. Is this even worth it? Like, what are we gaining from this?
Yeah, I think especially on the lower tier exchanges, the idea of listing, for me anyway, on the bigger exchanges is to get exposure to a bigger audience, get more users into your project, more people interested in it, because if they go on, they own the token. I think we talked about it with airdrops and different things earlier. If someone owns a token, they're going to be more interested in the project. But a lot of the lower tier exchanges, the people who will actually go and trade that are people who are already holders or trading your token on Cardano. So by going to the bigger exchanges, that's where the user base is going to be for getting more people into the project. Where when you pay the market makers on the lower exchanges, then a lot of times it just doesn't have the impact that you wanted to. We have Fareed. Welcome, Fareed. Great to see you in the chat. I'm sure anyone watching here is subscribed to Fareed, but if not, make sure you are for keeping up with Cardano. There was questions on governance. So Friday is the time for that one. I'm sitting down with Rick McCracken for a live stream on Friday, and we will cover everything Cardano governance, Sancho Net. He's the guy who is deep down in that. So that will be the video for that. Let me see. I'm sure I've missed lots of questions. I appreciate everyone that has asked them. Let's see, do we need to solve wallet fragmentation issues, as there's still no single wallet that shows all? I think there are still some wallets and protocols that do have issues at times when there's really big wallets. What is the one? Unfracket was it Adam Dean or someone made Unfracket for you can go on, it can clean up your wallet. But hopefully we get things like that built into wallets, and even when you want to send transactions, that it will maybe even have an option that to pay the extra fee, it would only be a small bit, that it would tidy up your UTXOs within your wallet. That is one of the downsides of the EUTXO, and you can have so many in your wallet that it can be a bit slower.
If you just do a send all to one of the addresses in your wallet, it should solve that issue for you.
Yeah, so that takes all the potentially hundreds of UTXOs if someone has a lot of assets in it, and puts them all back onto one address. Then I think I've got through the comments. I'm going to leave it there unless someone throws one in the next minute. But Peyton, thanks very much for your time. I appreciate it. It was great to catch up. I think we covered a lot of different aspects on Cardano and the wider crypto space today. Fareed was in the chat. Next time we will try and get Fareed in. I do some live streams with Fareed too. Good to get a lot of us together on some of them streams. But closing thoughts?
I think we're in a good time right now. I think we're kind of in the golden window for projects launching. So, Axo or Atrium, all of these users are going to start to come in. So I'm happy. It's nice to see Bitcoin where it's at. I just saw a post about 20 minutes ago stating that Arizona State Senate is considering adding Bitcoin ETFs in its state retirement portfolios. So that shows you where we're at in crypto. We're finally here. Global adoption's coming. So thank you so much for the stream, Paul. It was a lot of fun. We should definitely do it again. And for everybody tuning in, make sure you click that like button. Give Paul a subscribe here. He's been grinding throughout the bear for you guys. So I hope you have a good rest of your week.
Yeah, thanks everyone for joining in. Everyone that joined in with us, thanks very much. Do appreciate everyone who came into the stream, asked questions, got involved, give the video a like, shared it out, or even just sat back and watched. Hopefully you got some value, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.